All right, welcome everybody to another edition of the Dad at Arms channel. I'm your host, Dad at Arms. I also go by Colt, and joining me today are three very awesome guests. We have Tim Sheridan, and we have Teddy, the evil master of fashion, Biaselli, and we have Rob David. How are you guys doing?
We're good.
Hi.
Awesome. Well, real briefly,
because this is a mirror, so it's
yeah.
I know you. And then when I go to point to Rob, who's literally to my left,
we open on baffling people, and then we slowly,
exactly.
Everything that we are going to talk about today is from the mirror universe.
Yes, we are through the looking glass right now. So, why don't you all briefly introduce yourselves?
I'm Tim Sheridan. I'm a writer, movies, TV, comic books. I had the pleasure of working with these gentlemen on Masters of the Universe, Revelation, and Revolution, and we've all worked on a little comic book called Masters of the Universe, Revolution, the official prequel to the second season of the series that we're all here to talk about.
Yes.
Well done.
That was beautiful. I'm Teddy. I am the Netflix part of these three towers, also master sellout. I am a corporate shill. Every time anybody gets accused of being a corporate shill, they don't know what a corporate shill is. I'm a corporate shill. as I'm drinking Skeletor blood.
Because it's like Motu. That's the thing.
Because mornings are pure havoc.
Yeah.
I just see like the bounding Incel Comics headline right now where it's like, Ted Biaselli admits he's a corporate
God. I'm Rob David, writer, producer, executive, and the Mattel counterpart on this production. And I am also a sellout, but half of me refuses to accept it. And then just completely is in a Zor-Ka struggle. I looked that up on Wikipedia before I got on, just so I'd have something to contribute.
Very
now
nice.
Everybody knows you're a true fan, Rob.
Yeah. Thanks to Wikipedia.
Now they know.
That Zor and Ka struggle sounds terrible. It's almost like there should be a third magic that should.
What could that third magic thing be? So, speaking of Revolution,
Skeletor blood coffee.
Oh god,
Rob, you go to Wikipedia. I send a message to Yuka whenever I have questions.
Yes, Yuka she
knows everything.
Eternia
Yuka
historian.
is the Oracle of the Crystal Sea. I want somebody to do an illustration of like the clear globe with Yuka's face in there, because
awesome.
literally when you need something, we've all done it. Tim's done it. I've done it. Rob's done it. We've all reached out to Yuka, who has this insane knowledge,
and it's immediate.
Didn't we one time, either you, me, Teddy, or you, me, Tim, or all three of us, or you guys, start talking about a story of like there's a murder on Eternia, and it would take like we have a Yuka-like character, and he has to investigate all the clues to piece it together. I'm pitching it right here. If only someone on this call had the authority to greenlight such a project in some medium.
I'm going to say it wrong. It's Yuka Isakanen. Is that how you say it?
If you're going to say it wrong, I'm sure as hell going to say it wrong.
So Yuka, I have to say, since we're talking about the Revolution prequel comic book in stores May 15th, Yuka was instrumental in helping us out with research, some important research for issue 2, which will be out in June. He went above and beyond. He tracked down some stuff that we couldn't find, and he did some amazing stuff. If I say what he did, it would spoil some stuff.
It's going to spoil. But what he did do, I think we can unwind a little bit, is we knew that one of the things that we love to do is it's not just go back to the US based Motu mythologies and things that have been, canon just in the US. We really try to embrace everything from a global perspective. Mattel does that, Netflix does that, and Tim is, as our guide and scribe, does that beautifully. And Tim had this idea to pull something from one of the foreign comics. Not only did Yuka dig into it and help deliver it, freaking translated it all for him.
But also not just translated it. He Well, I could say it was a comic book, and
Yes.
it was in another language. He not only translated it, but he re-ballooned the whole comic book with the translations.
That's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen to me when I finish my Ozempic. I'm gonna re-balloon.
He did it in a day. That's what I can't get over. Too.
He sent me that comic this morning in an email.
Great.
He's like, oh, you have that interview today. Here's this. I was like, what do I do with this, Yuka? I was like, I can't ask about issue 2 yet.
Spoilers.
Okay, so before we jump into the comics talk, the Revolution was televised. We all got to see it, and it was fantastic. I want to celebrate that for a little bit because I adored it. I loved it. I think I've probably told each of you individually more times than you care to hear it, but I'll say it again for you. It was wonderful. It was beautiful. I adored every second of it. So thank you to all 3 of you.
Thank you, Kevin Smith.
And Kevin.
We love being a part of it. I think we were all grateful that we had the opportunity to continue what we started. We knew where we were headed, and we were like, just give us a chance.
Yeah.
And I think that was part of it. We were tempted to call it Masters of the Universe Redemption, but I think that Revolution actually did sell the story the best way.
Yeah, it was great. So what I've seen in the fan spaces and stuff, and what I've read is that there's just good positive feedback about it. People seem to have enjoyed it and are still talking about it and posting about it. And from a fan perspective, that's fun for me because that means I get to keep talking about He-Man and
Yeah.
So passing that on to you guys, I hope that makes you feel good and proud.
Well, as good as Revolution was received, there is some stuff that we didn't get a chance to include in the series itself. And that's when Rob came to Tim and I and said, let's include some of the meaty backstory that I think we just didn't have time in the series. Also, I think just in the structure of the animated series, it would have slowed down the momentum of the current.
It would have stopped it dead.
It would have stopped it. Yeah. So doing it as a prequel comic sort of gives you everything that you want, but does it in a way that does not take away from the sort of the current day story.
Also, there's such a geeky thrill to like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, a story where you have in a different medium, you have intersection points with the main prime source of the entertainment, and then you have another source that like interweaves. So there's moments in here, and it's a joy. And I know Tim in scripting it, I hope it was a joy. I think it was a joy because it comes across as a joy when you turn in your script pages. But it's like, you see one scene in the show, and then you just widen the lens just a little bit more, and the scene goes on, or you get context for it, and it kind of retroactively gives a second meaning to a scene you've already watched in Revolution, which is really, really cool.
And Revelation, by the way. Revelation, because I think go ahead, Tim. You're going to say exactly what I think you're going to say.
Oh, I was just going to say,
you rehearsed it, guys.
You were just going to say, Ted.
Sorry.
It's that where the Revelation prequel comic, connected to the series. I think we've gone a step further. The Revolution comic, you really see how the places where we connect it to the series, and you get to see more information. The scenes, some scenes that you've seen, you get to see more of them. What was around that scene? What led into it? How it would have been completed. So we had a lot more fun with that, I think, this time around than the last time. I'm so glad we got to do that. It is super fun.
And I think what's really interesting, when we did the Revelation prequel comic, we wanted to establish Skeletor as the unreliable narrator. Mm-hmm. And I think, we had the opportunity to sort of embrace all aspects of Motu Origins in their, Rob really loves those old, I'll call them mini comics, and really wanted to embrace the idea
for a hot minute at least. I mean, I really like, because we've in the DC comics we've dived into Kaldor's lore, and then on the CG show we had Kaldor, and it just for 5 minutes give us a moment to just embrace what it was for most of the 80s was a lot of fun.
And I think that's we had the luxury of being able to make all things true, right? In that moment, like let's make Skeletor an evil demon from another dimension with people who look just like him. That was really awesome. And then I think it might have been Kevin or Tim. It was one of you guys who said, "Well, that's the implanted memory. That's Hordak manipulating Keldor to suppress who he really is. That's the manipulated memory." And we were like, "Oh, that's so cool."
That's very cool. Oh, I love that.
I mean, you can always go to the multiverse explanation for things, and that can be really cool and fun. But it was really satisfying, wasn't it, to be able to make sense out of those two competing origin stories and make them part of the same story
with sort of canon that I think people already understand and embrace. That
it's Hordak what he does. It's what Hordak does. And it leads right into, we always knew we wanted to go into that and keep mining it. And it dovetails really nicely into the lore of Hordak and what he does and his modus operandi, and then the central conflict between Skeletor and Hordak. Because whenever you're doing these, whenever you're deep diving into lore, or the most important thing is that it's always directly tied into or coming out of your story engine and your character driven story engine, because otherwise then it becomes then like a Wikipedia entry if you're not careful. So if long as everything you want to dive into is coming out of that central tension between the characters, then it's going to feel organic and welcome. So that it just felt like a home run to kind of like to dive into that fan loved lore, but have it be the central spine of the story.
Well said.
It was really exciting watching.
I wrote it down beforehand.
Do you have notes? Do you have notes? I didn't do notes.
No, I have someone in the van outside feeding me things. Thank you, Yuka. Thank you.
It's Yuka.
It's Yuka.
In the van, in the Yuka mobile.
The Yuka mobile is fantastic.
Oh my god.
So when you decided that you were going to do this prequel comic to tie into Revolution, how far along? There it is.
Oh, isn't that great?
That's pretty.
I love that cover art.
Hard to do it, but this is because they haven't sent me any copies yet, so I don't have the physical copy to hold up. So
Tim was like, "What is this book about?" I'm like, "I don't know. I haven't read it."
I haven't read the final version. I haven't seen the final version. I have I'm going to get it when everybody else does next week.
Yeah, I have it on PDF. That's all I got.
On PBS?
Do you
on
PBS? Yeah, it linked to PBS.
Yeah. Rob, do you have the actual published version of PDF?
I don't have the actual printed yet, but I have the PDF of it.
So speaking of what we can discuss, Dark Horse sent me over a PDF of issue 1, so I've read through issue 1.
See,
Colt Crank, it's a PDF of issue 1. The guys whose names are on the cover have never looked at this.
Do you guys want me to tell you what your comic's about?
Please, what happened? How does it end?
Don't say how it ends. We want people to buy the book.
Exactly. So that's what a lot of my questions revolve around. What happens in issue 1? But I don't know if we should actually talk about that.
No, we can talk.
We know
about
what happens.
Right.
Yeah, we just haven't. We're just joking. We haven't seen the final version yet.
Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about, we have some cool new additions to the Horde. Can we talk about those cool evil ladies?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's for sure.
So
they're in the first 5-page preview.
Yeah,
they are in the preview.
Yep,
That's
they are.
already
They're
out.
on the
Sure.
preview.
So that's
So we have Tarantula and Succubug. I love them. They're cool.
They are great.
The Horde cousins, as I call them.
They're like the Care Bear cousins, but evil.
So I will give Tim should speak about because these are his creations.
These are his babies.
But I will say that they were originally going to be in the show.
Okay.
But part of the hard part of making a show, sometimes you have to like make certain choices just in terms of time, money, efficiency, the whole thing, casting and everything. So we said, you know what? Let's they won't be in this, but the benefit of it being a franchise and having other places to go, we're like, you know where they could go.
Part of, when you're trying to sort of I think it's pretty well known that Revolution, this show's not an inexpensive show to make. The animation itself is very, very high quality. That alone is very expensive. We have celebrity voices, all the music, all of this stuff goes into a very, very expensive property. And one of the ways that you sort of pull your budgets in when you're hitting those things is in the number of characters you are creating for the show. And a lot of, when we had all these ambitions to include a pantheon of characters that we didn't get in Revelation. And I think that, and some new characters. And Tim's like, we need some, new evil women in there as well. And then unfortunately what happened was those things start to pull back. And I think what sort of benefited from this is the Horde that we see in Revolution are the original figures from 1985 when the Horde was introduced. It's like, oh, here we go. These are the original Horde members. So it doesn't give us the sort of the world building that we wanted, but that's what the comic is for. But the cartoon, we got to do a little homage to like the core characters from that original evil Horde commercial.
And remember, this is set a little bit before, a good time before the Revolution series, before Revelation, and this comic book. And so there's every reason to believe when we're looking at the Horde that we're going to see some characters that, we don't know where they are today. The Horde Empire is a huge thing. So there are, people in different parts of the galaxy. So who knows?
And that's why we'd like to announce the 3-issue limited series. Succubus and Tarantula.
Well, let me say, a lot of people,
the death of a couple of bugs.
A lot of people online are asking questions. They're like, who are these people? Like, what are their powers? And first of all, my first answer is, read the book, first of all. But also,
you're like Time of Life.
Talk to, give a shout out to our friends at Mattel and Dark Horse and demand the origin story as Teddy is trying to of Succubus.
Oh, I want the death of them. Don't you know? I'm responsible for the death of things that you love. So that's I'm always.
What
I think it's so important to do things like this, to have like something new and fresh, not just a fresh new take on an old existing character, but like all new characters, because I feel like the danger is on a property that has been on for decades, and then you've got a fan base that's growing with it, is that it can get frozen, in ember, and people just want, replay, but they forget that joy when all these characters were new, and there's just a joy of a new face, and who is that, and what's that all about? And then it always makes me feel like the universe is more real. Like, you drop in a new character in the Horde Empire, to Tim's point, this is a vast empire. Surely we have not met everybody that's part of the empire yet. So these little kind of things just remind you that it's a living, breathing universe. So, and I hopefully the fans, do love it and keep accepting it and want more, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah. I also think, look, I'm going to say this, which is that, because I've gotten this question a lot since the Succubus and Tarantula pages came out. A lot of people will ask, well, wait a minute, why do you have to create new Horde ladies when there were Horde ladies that I know of in the lore? And first of all, there were never enough. Number one, I want more of them.
Hordak has always been the granny goodness of the Horde. He loves implementing women, rage. Like, he just turns it out there.
But I think anybody who's watching this is a fan and knows that there are some characters that are tricky in terms of how we use them and where we use them in Masters of the Universe because of, historical legal questions. And so it's always good when we get to add more, there are places in the canon and in the lore where we can add new characters that we know we can go back to and we can use and see their stories play out, in new and exciting ways. That wasn't the case as far as I know with these characters, but that's that's a
right,
thing.
But also, from a purely creative point of view, like it'd be like saying, why create Dr. Octopus when there's already a lizard? He already has an animal themed villain. Why do you need another one? It's like, well, why not? Why would you possibly want to limit yourself?
And also, I feel like since this is in the past, this comic book, the absence of characters that you may expect to see, it may be a story point. It could be a story point. Where are they? If we don't see Succubug and Tarantula in the Revolution TV series, where are they? If we don't see, Catra in the comic book, where is she? Those are things that are always exciting to me.
And I think speaking to that point, coming from the collector side of us with all the toys, we see how excited people are getting just with the new Eternia line. People are so excited to see these new versions of classic characters. I'm excited to see new characters implemented into the line. And so
me too.
Yeah. So one of the first things I thought of when I saw these pages and these
You've
characters,
had enough,
like, okay,
Eddie. We're cutting you off.
Look at him. Look at his background. That's just like one small taste.
This calls an intervention. We're here to talk to you.
I've committed to actually empowering the collector and custom community because we don't have a Keldor yet.
Oh,
look at how
cool.
good that looks. And
that is cool.
He's got his little floating.
What do you mean we don't have a Keldor yet?
Like this. Keldor.
Not like
the classic,
like
classic.
We do have
Keldor.
King Keldor.
We have King Keldor. Yes, we do.
Yeah, so the first thing I thought of when I saw those new characters that you had on the page was when do we get the toys of them?
Good
and
question.
Does Bug have a
Great
similar...
question for Rob.
Oh yeah. I don't talk about toys.
But yeah, I mean, I think that speaks to what you're talking about. That this is such a vast brand. Let's see more characters.
Call of action to the fans: demand more Masters of the Universe TV series, demand more Masters of the Universe comics, and demand more Masters of the Universe toys. Write your congressman.
I'll do it.
They're not doing anything right now, so you might as well. I would love it if Rob got a letter from, someone in Washington. I really appreciate your Masters of the Universe.
No, we got Robert Garcia in Washington. He's a nerd. It could happen. Could happen.
We also see, in this first issue, we see Hordak in the Fright Zone. Is the Fright? I guess a question for me is I never had a good sense of where the Fright Zone existed. So seeing that
you know where it exists,
that this comic tells us where it exists now.
Yeah.
Is that new?
It exists in the shadow,
a
and
zone.
the darkness of every person's heart.
It is a zone that it exists in all places.
It's a movable feast of horror.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's too. I think we can talk about it, right? We can talk about what it is, right? Sure. I think the concept, and you'll see it, in the book, is while yes, in issue 1 you will see Hordak enter the Fright Zone, the classic entrance to the Fright Zone there, on Watgar.
Mm-hmm.
There may be many different ways to enter the Fright Zone. So, just because we see it in one place doesn't mean that's the only place that it exists.
Exactly.
I think it was Rob. Rob had that was a really great idea of, that the Fright Zone isn't just a location. It is it's a frame of mind. It's almost like another dimension that can exist anywhere.
It's a pocket universe is what it really is. It exists within and outside of every other multiverse. I think that's how we can sort of really pin it down. I mean, it's right there in the name, and that's honestly what we looked at. We're like, okay, it's not a fortress, it's not a castle, it is a zone. So let's really take that for literal sake and make it a place that exists outside of a temporal plane, and you can come at it from different places. And wouldn't that be the most perfect place to hide something that is very, very valuable? You would hide it in a place that's not really easy to get to.
Mm-hmm. So there's two kind of inspirations, and I hope lawyers forgive me to bringing them up, but they're just there's in the ether. Is the cabin in Lost? You know how it would appear. It could appear in different places, and it was, and then also the line in Empire Strikes Back that has stayed with me in my entire life, which is so profound, which I'm sure it's taken from Zen Buddhism somewhere, is when Luke says, "What's in the cave?" and Yoda says, "Only whatever you take with you." Is really like, there's something so profound about that. It's like the Fright Zone ultimately is personal. It's where you confront in many ways your own inner demons of fear, and some people run away from them, some people overcome them, and some people just get married to them, like Skeletor maybe does all three in many ways.
Artfully said, Rob.
I rehearse, okay?
That's fantastic. So I like that. So the Fright Zone that we see in this comic isn't necessarily the same physical location as what we see in the flashbacks of the Revolution series where they're training, because it's an ethereal type of thing.
I mean, the Fright Zone is the Fright Zone.
Yeah.
The question is, how do you get to the Fright Zone?
How do you get in there?
And it's more about a state of mind.
You tell me how you get there.
It's more about a frame of mind. It's more about what's in your heart, really, that can take you to the Fright Zone more than, there's not a map necessarily.
Unless you'd like a map, we could provide.
Should we do a map? Does everybody want a map?
I want a map.
What I realized,
franchise, man, those are the hooks.
Speaking of Star Wars, you know what I realized recently was that J.J. Abrams' 2 Star Wars movies, the first one is all about finding a map, and the second one that he did was all about finding a map to get to another map.
It's all about maps.
Fascinating. Maps. So if anybody wants, maps are apparently very popular. So if anybody wants,
even in an age of GPS, we still can't beat a good old fashioned map.
Thomas Guide. Little LA joke.
That's the title of any further comic book, Masters of the Universe cartography.
So within the Fright Zone, we see the Seers. That's where we're introduced to them. There's a name reference there, but it's not the Weaver of Shadows, correct? Or is it? Or will we find out more? I don't know. I like seeing
Guardians of Ares, the Guardians of Ares, Weavers of Shadow, Keepers of Power Untold, Seers of What's to Come. There's about 1 million things there. Pick and choose.
It's all very cool, and my fan, I was very excited reading it. They're around this pool, and they pull out the artifact. Are we going to learn more about the origins of the Havoc staff itself?
We weren't, but now we should. That's a good idea.
Yeah, not in this one. There's
Yeah, I don't think that's an example, I think, of also of stopping things. Like we kind of stop this story, which is only 4 issues, you know, so we need to kind of get to the next thing. So the specific origin of it, we're not talking about that. But but there's a lot of lore around it. There's a lot of
you will get a meal of
cool.
Yeah, I mean you'll connect. It'll all connect. It all makes, you know.
There's something that the 3 of us have worked on that sort of gives us a lot of blueprints for when we do these sort of like lore, you know, extrapolations that we go back to for those things, and it's a, you know, it's constantly evolving, but those stories there in that document, they give us the basis to tell stories in the future, and that's one of those stories that we can dig into.
I can say definitively, though, that the origin of the Havoc staff, as seen in the Revolution prequel comic, well, that's a bunch of BS.
Not the head of some
monster.
Yeah.
What was his name, Tim?
The name, he didn't have a name, did he?
He didn't have a name.
No, but they were the sort of evil race that had enslaved Skeletor's people.
You rejected the opportunity to name something. I don't know if you know this, Colt. Tim's names are incredible. Like, he came up with the Orlaxa Primaria,
which is fantastic.
Where is he from? Apollonios? Wait, what is it? It's the
Skeletor.
Skeletor's
it's
from
the realm of Apollonios in the heart of the great Perpetuum.
Yeah, like come on.
It's fantastic.
Tim has a bag of Scrabble tiles that he just spit out of, and arranges them, and he's like,
honestly, I love that little aspect of world building. I'm crazy about, like the Trollan Spellspring in episode 4 of Revelation. You know, the what else have we done? There's been a whole bunch of them. Scareglow's Reliquary. I just love putting, you know, little markers on things that explain kind of what it is, but then we can sort of talk about it in conversation later.
Well, I think you can
go and gobble up all the trademark website names for it.
Yes.
And it's stuck having to pay him all the time for years to come. It's terrible.
That's right.
Well, I think what you do very well, Tim, is your naming conventions are very evocative of things like the Perpetuum. Like that is such a cool sounding concept.
I was concerned. Thank you. I was concerned about the name Tarantula, and I was like, that feels weird, Tarantula. And Teddy's like, no, you have to do Tarantula.
I'm glad you did it before Monster High did it. It sounds like something Monster High would have named. So I was like, no, we got it first.
It's very cool, and you're very good at it. So.
You guys, the house always wins. Okay, just let me know.
That's true. The house will win.
It's true. Mattel wins. Mattel wins.
All good.
By the way,
all good.
Now they own it. They're gonna do a Monster High doll named Tarantula McWeb.
When we cross over the Monster High Masters of the Universe,
Monsters of the Universe, a matter of time.
It's got to happen at some point.
Because Rob knows.
You tell me, because we're gonna make it a live action animated series on Netflix. So you tell me.
Live action animated series.
Yeah, and both. It's unprecedented.
Here we'd like to announce,
and the animation will be done live.
It's
Motu High.
The live action series coming to Netflix. It's amazing.
I want to see it. I know we're running out of time, and I know you guys have other interviews too.
You got one more question.
Okay, one more question.
Pick a good one.
I'm thinking. Okay, this takes place, you know, before the events of Revolution. Keldor, as he appears, is obviously a young man. We see his mother. We see, how do I pronounce her name? Is it Saren?
Saren.
Okay. I've read it so many times, but I don't know how to pronounce it. That wasn't my question, by the way, how to pronounce that name.
There we go. Done. Have a nice day, guys.
Okay, you guys have a good one.
Like poison gas.
So I wanted to ask where does this take? Has Adam been born yet? Is this before birth,
and
right around the time where he would be?
Keep reading the book.
Keep reading.
Okay.
Read the book.
That's a good answer.
Okay, good. So I know as much. I love seeing Skeletor. I love seeing Hordak and stuff like that. But I still want to know what's going on with my heroes. So
Keep reading the book.
It is important to note, going along with your question, this is the story of when Hordak met Skeletor. That is, the focus of this story, because that was a key part of Revolution that, like we said earlier, kind of would have stopped things in the show. And but it's an interesting part of the lore and the history, and it's
a rom-com.
And I think it helps to
Billy Crystal as Hordak,
the relationship.
Meg Ryan as Keldor.
All right, we're Tim. We're sorry.
No, it's okay. I think it helps to color in that relationship that we see in Revolution a little bit more, and so that is where our focus is in this series. So if you're hungry for more of that story and learning about the origins of that relationship and why it went the way it did, and why it ultimately went so wrong, as we saw in Revolution. That's where this story lives. Awesome. Now, is it connected to the royal family on Eternia? And of course, obviously. So lots of stuff to see in this book.
Very cool.
Which is out May 15th.
May 15th.
In stores and online, and everybody. I hope you all pick it up. Because when you buy it, it means that we get a chance to make more of these things. So please do that.
And we like making more. We have so many stories to tell in this universe, so it's a lot of fun for all of us.
Awesome.
Total joy.
So everybody out there who is watching, please, support the book, support the show, talk about it, read it, buy it. That's how we get more.
I'm going to throw one thing in here, just as to the fans too, because I had lunch with Ian Richter yesterday, as people might remember from.
How's he doing?
He's doing great, and we were both just marveling. Like we have a very similar experience, and we both were talking about how much the fandom and the He-Man.org in particular, like how much it informs so much of what like our understanding and our passion. It's like. So I just want you to know that legit, like the fandom and the fan reactions and the conversation is so important to everybody.
Okay.
That's true. And by the way, before we go, let me just also say one thing, Colt, which is that comic books don't just happen because of writers and producers or editors. This book is drawn by the amazing Daniel HDR.
Oh yeah,
is doing incredible work. I can't get over how good his Hordak is. I'm crazy about when he draws Hordak.
And he's a master of the double page spread.
He's turned some of my single pages into double page spreads too, which is really great. And
it's like going IMAX,
It's been an absolute joy working with him. He's a masterful storyteller, sequential art, sequential storytelling. He's so good at this, and he makes us all look good. So shout out to Daniel HDR.
Very cool.
And the covers too by Dave. They're just so they're
Dave Wilkins.
Yeah. I mean, like
I love his art.
We love a Dave Wilkins cover.
Mm-hmm.
Starting with the DC comics we did too, just like they're just insane.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. I want to slip in one more question, and this is because Rob held something up.
No, you got your question. Nope.
That was it. I'm not hitting end recording yet. Tell me about her. Can you talk about her? Can you talk about the character?
Well, I can't reveal anything as it relates to,
Read the book.
Read the book.
and we have seen the, a few months ago. This was before the show even dropped. We saw the
we know
the cover.
We know.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys know.
No, we know it was before the show dropped, Colt.
But did you know?
There are people who are watching who may not know.
I'm opening old wounds.
We were all like, wait, why did they put that out? What? Who? What?
So keep reading,
Keep
supporting,
reading.
keep supporting the brand. And I just want to advocate for kindness, because we need more kindness in the world, and I think Motu is about positivity, and so that's, I guess I just want to remind people who watch that let's be kind, let's be happy, and let's keep moving forward with Motu as best we can. So I want to thank
Hordak and Skeletor are not a model of kindness, but
no, they aren't. But they're fictional characters.
That's what this whole series is all about: the kindness of Hordak.
Yeah. He's got a good heart, the heart of gold.
He does. He's misunderstood.
Well, I want to thank all three of you for joining me today. It's always a pleasure to talk with each of you, and I thank each and every one of you for your time.
We thank you. It's a lot of fun. It's giving us an opportunity to hang out and laugh.
Yeah. Well, good.
Now I'm gonna hang up with all of them and yell at Rob and Tim.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Send help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll talk to you later, guys. Thanks.
Bye.